Welcome to this rapid revision session on the arrest of Rosa Parks, surely one of the most famous events of the entire civil rights movement. First, let's get some context on the arrest of Rosa Parks and understand the situation in Montgomery, Alabama at that time. In Montgomery, public transport was segregated. Buses had a white section and a so-called coloured section which could move if more white people got on. This was at the discretion of the bus driver. Bus drivers were white, and if a black person refused to move, they would drive to the nearest phone and call the police to have them arrested. They also bullied black passengers, especially women. On December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks and 3 other black passengers were told to move on a bus for just one white passenger. Of the 4, only Parks refused to move, and the driver, true to form, had her arrested. This wasn't an unusual event, except that this time the arrest of a respectable black woman led to a boycott of the buses that lasted for 381 days. So why Rosa Parks? In many ways, Parks was the perfect person to front the boycott. The Women's Political Council, or WPC, had already been campaigning for changes to the bus system. 6 other women had been arrested for the same thing in 1955 alone. But Parks was the one who's really made headway with her arrest. Parks was a respectable, early middle-aged married woman. In the 1950s, this meant that there was little her opponents could use against her. She was involved with the Montgomery NAACP, that's the National Association for the Advancement of Coloured People, and trained in non-violent protest. She knew how to behave as the face of the boycott, and that perhaps is why the boycott took off after Rosa Parks' arrest rather than after the arrest of the other women. So let's consider some final points then. What was it about Rosa Parks' arrest that made it so remarkable? Well, here's what you need to know. Firstly, bear in mind that given the values at the time, Rosa Parks was a respectable married black woman from Montgomery, Alabama. She was active in the Women's Political Council before, and her background and character made it hard for opponents to discredit her when she became more visibly an activist. The key date is that she was arrested on December 1st, 1955. A photograph of her having her fingerprints taken can be seen in the above right. This was because she had refused to move when her seat on the bus was changed to a whites-only seat, as part of Montgomery, Alabama's racist segregation laws at the time. Although she wasn't the only black woman arrested that year, or for that reason, it was Parks' arrest that kicked off the Montgomery Bus Boycott into action at the end of 1955 and going right the way through into 1956, a boycott lasting 381 days, and a boycott that forms the subject of the next video in this series. That was a very brief look at the significance of the arrest of Rosa Parks and why she in particular was such a good figurehead for the movement. But to find out what happens next, tune in to my next rapid revision session, which will be on the Montgomery Bus Boycott. I hope for now that short video has been helpful. If it has, please like the video, subscribe to the channel and tune in for more content like this. If there's something that you're desperate for me to do a revision session on, please put it in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Thanks for watching and goodbye.